Live. Hello. Welcome back, everyone. This is definitely not the second time we're doing this today.
It's fine. It's working out. We're doing great.
So, welcome back to live news. We've done this in the past at some point, but for all intents and purposes, this is the first time we've done that.
We're doing our regular format. We're going to talk about tech news. We're going to talk about film news. But obviously, we're doing it live, so you'll be able to hear our reactions to all of this. We have some pretty interesting things on AI, because for some reason these last few weeks we've had a lot of AI news.
Yeah.
And we've been having a lot more of movie TV release news, because we're getting to the fall season and the next year. So a lot of big news coming out from the tech and film world. We do want to address the fact that we got something wrong like the rest of the world did with the Bruce Willis story. So that's the first one we're going to start off with today.
And then we'll quickly overview all the new Google AI technology. New introduction, text to video, lots of stuff. Let's get into it. Roll the intro.
Like I was going to say, thankfully Google didn't shut down these AI projects like they've been shutting down everything else.
Oh,
but yeah.
I mean, they're not even out yet. And usually they do come out, and then they let the people like it. And then once there's a fan base, they're like, pull the plug.
It didn't fit our internal memos. But also, nobody's been talking about it, but a lot of tech companies have been quietly doing a hiring freeze and shutting down projects and letting people go. So, you know.
But then on top of that, Google is being Google. So they cancel Stadia. That's what
the big
reference this is. But let's get into our biggest story.
Bruce Willis. I accidentally had a typo in the article and I typed in Bruce Willis instead of Willis. So last week we reported that Bruce Willis had sold his rights to his likeness to the deepfake company Deepcake. That is incorrect. It turns out that everybody just ran with the story, including the Hollywood Reporter and the BBC, that he had sold his likeness. He was going to be moving forward with deepfake commercials, and then films. That is not true, because all these news articles decided to follow up with Bruce Willis's publicists, and they said no. I think what happened was that they were trying to figure out a contract, but because this is such a new approach, where an actor is willingly going out of his way to make commercials and shorts this way. Well, actually, I shouldn't say shorts, but
we're back.
some technical difficulties with YouTube, but we're back. So, like I was saying, this is the first time an actor has gone out of their way to create a new commercial. And correction, I was going to say shorts, but that's not true. But because this is such a new precedent for the film industry, they have to figure out where this falls for the rest of the categories of archive footage or 3D generated footage that the film industry has used before. But because this is new, like in the fact that they're creating new footage with the likeness of an actor to this capacity, I think it's freaking a little people out, because it's just something that we've dabbled with, but we've never really wanted to acknowledge as a full possibility. Especially with the fact that if Bruce Willis said that he wanted to do this, it opens the doors for other actors to kind of continue this way. And because we haven't really gone full in to this extent with deepfake technology, especially with an actor who's still alive, it presents a lot of questions.
So that was the interesting thing for me, because we have had other people give permission to use their relatives or stuff like that for their likeness in a movie. And the thing that struck me the most was the fact that Deepcake said that an actor wouldn't be able to give them permission to use their likeness sort of indefinitely.
Because it's not really allowed. And
yeah, well, they said that's their right. We can't take away the right. That was sort of the logic. Though, to me, it just seems like you already do that in some aspects, like in video games when they take your likeness and put in a video game, for actors or athletes. and then you don't have control what they do.
And in the film industry, when superhero actors go in and get their full body scanned for CGI models,
you're already given similar permission to studios in a more limited fashion. I don't see why you couldn't extend that indefinitely. So them claiming that that's not allowed seems a little bit of nonsense, but it seems to me that they wanted to make it not controversial at all.
Yeah, because we should preface this for the people who haven't heard about this before. Bruce Willis has a brain disorder that he addressed last year called aphasia. It, in very layman's terms, affects the brain and how it processes audio and visual information, both receiving and delivering. So he had to retire from acting, and his family made a statement last year in March, about it. So the thing that happened with that after the fact was that he ended up making commercials for a Russian telecommunications company called Telephone. They released a few commercials with Bruce Willis's deep-faked face on top of another actor, and they made about 4 or 5, and the company Deepcake actually made a reel explaining how they did it.
Interesting. I didn't know they made more than one commercial.
Yeah, the big one that was released was just the one where he's tied up on the boat. If you look at the reel, there's other commercials that were made by them that have slowly been released, but it's just the boat one that everybody seen because it's the most readily available commercial of them. Now, getting to the complex side of all this is the fact that if you wanted to do this, there really isn't a contract that's been written in a way where it would allow itself to happen, because he's willingly given, if he were to do it, he would have to willingly give him not only his likeness, but approve somebody to do a vocal performance. But overseas, that's not too big of a problem. There's already voice actors assigned to actors when they dub. Oh yeah, so we'll be playing the video in a little bit so you guys can see. But
I didn't see that.
Yeah, we'll give the example right now. And if you can't hear it, it's for... Yeah, if you can't hear it, it's for copyright reasons, but... There we go, that shot.
So I do remember seeing that they said they use mostly data from Die Hard. So it is like the younger Bruce Willis, not, the current one. I'd say it looks okay.
No, yeah, it's passable. It works fine. There are moments, like, if it's a still shot like that, it looks like Bruce Willis. But it's just when he's shifting the face where the light just doesn't
the
catch.
eyes.
Yeah, it's all the uncanny valley. The same problems that everybody's had with trying to make
it's pretty good
completely digital humans, but it's complex. Now, unlike Tarkin in Rogue One or Carrie Fisher in Episode 9, the families and the estates of the people who passed away gave the filmmakers permission to do these deep fake or digitally recreated actors. But because Bruce Willis is still alive, I think that's when people start feeling uncomfortable, because this leads all into the AI conversation. I think it's, the separation between what is real, what is human. Do we really prefer that? But also, where do we draw the line with that? Because you can say the same about motion capture performances, or you can say the same as just hyper realistic animations. So
it seems particularly interesting to me that people seem more uncomfortable with doing realistic recreation with someone that's alive, with someone that's dead. It's kind of like, oh, they're dead. Well, we don't have an option, so it's okay. And then with this, they seem to be more upset about it for some reason.
Because I think it's comparing it to an AI painting something versus a human painting it, because there's that human element that it makes people feel uncomfortable. That I think it's what really taints this whole thing, because after it turned out that it wasn't real, that they hadn't signed a contract, because I think the big thing was that people were freaking out that it was that every news article was saying that Bruce Willis wanted to make films this way. That's obviously not the case.
But see, okay, I'm not advocating for it because I don't necessarily want it to happen, but I think it is within his right. If he wanted to do that, I think he should be able to do that.
Because it's not out of the realm of ordinary. Well, it's not out of the ordinary for it to be considered, because all he really has to do is allow them to use his face. If they want to continue with deepfake, that's fine. If it's going to be for foreign films, that's totally fine. With the US, he'd have to get somebody to do a good impersonation of him, but it's,
right.
You know, it's one of those things where
I guess no one really knows his voice, and
I tried to do
either, huh?
I tried to do an impersonation of it, but he just whispers.
That's not what I mean. Like, is there a voice associated with Bruce Willis if you're a Spanish speaker?
No, yeah, there is.
So there's one person that always dubs his voice.
Yeah, so
okay.
Here's something fun about the film industry is that for many actors that may or may not have like a big presence in the US anymore, especially like old action stars or just, you know, B-list actors that, you know, probably won't be getting an A-list movie here in the US, they can be big in other countries around the world. The big example is that Steven Seagal always makes movies for Russia or Ukraine or stuff like that. No, yeah, he's still making movies. A bunch of these actors are still making movies overseas or doing commercials because those countries love them. I don't know if this is accurate. I remember looking at the analytics. I think it's Tom Cruise or another actor like that that doesn't make that many movies here in the US as frequently, but I want to say like an action actor like that. We'll do the example of Seagal. Just people love him in Russia, so he's always making movies in Russia. Or like sometimes he makes a lot of movies for Germany, so there's only specific German release movies. If here's a place to find him. Aside from online, if you ever go to like a Big Lots or or to like a dollar bargain bin.
Is it the red box?
No, not the red box. It's like you go to the store and there's a big bucket full of like $1 movies, and if you look through it, you'd be like, why is Samuel L. Jackson in a movie with Hannibal Lecter and like 5 other people? I've never heard of this movie, but you look in the back, European territories made for like Sweden or stuff like that.
Yeah,
like there's
and Willis was doing a lot of that in the last few years
because his career hasn't really that big in the US.
And I think he knew that, you know, he wasn't going to be able to act forever, so he wanted to kind of probably secure some financial security.
Because it's new technology, and I think what he liked is that he can stay on the forefront of it, but because there really wasn't like a specific contract written for something, because this is so new, they had to, you know, downplay it. The publicists had to come out like, no, this is not true. We haven't done anything like that. But obviously it has happened because it happened last year. So
yeah. Now they just need to extend that indefinitely. And there you go.
See, I want to see a movie of Bruce Willis fighting aliens.
Oh.
I think they could get around it if they didn't go full in for hyper realistic. Just make animated movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. It just doesn't have to be fully realistic, so we can suspend our disbelief a little bit more, because if we see a hyper realistic human on screen, we're going to be looking for the imperfections. Even in that commercial, I did it, I know he did it, you know, we paused to analyze. So
yeah, it's
an interesting conversation because it's an application of AI that we're starting to see kind of meld in with humanity and like what we consider art. And speaking of which, we're going to move on to our next story. Google announces text-to-video AI generator that creates HD video.
Very HD. It's 720p. In fact, I don't even know I don't think it's in 16:9, but it's close to them. And it's...
we'll show it to you in a bit, but the example is that I don't know why it is with these companies. I think it's because the computer has an easier time generating teddy bears, but it's always teddy bears.
I think they have a fascination of seeing a teddy bear actually move, because it's like, you know, the inanimate object that people think it's cute at the same time.
Hi, I'm Chucky.
So it's like... yeah, a little bit like that. But it's like... You know what it is, too? There isn't footage of the teddy bear doing this. So you're kind of putting it to test, the software to test, by making it... Make the thing that doesn't usually do these things, do these things. Apparently, washing dishes is a fantasy of these guys. You can see how the bowls merge into
He goes from a plate to a bowl. It's like he's summoning and reforming it. But look at the hands. They gave it like yellow gloves, but he doesn't have fingers because it's just nubs.
Well, all the training data must have been with people that had those yellow gloves. And then you see this horse that wants to just...
Yeah, look at the legs that are just morphing and disappearing and just noodles. We watched another one. If you look at the news from a few weeks ago, I think we had footage, or at least a link to a GIF where this horse looked like it was drifting across the screen, but you couldn't tell which way it was facing, and the legs were morphing in and out like this one. And I don't know, it just looks so weird. AI has a big problem with horses. It can't do the face or the feet. But what I wanted to talk about was, I get that on the science end, we want to push this technology. We want it to learn. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, horses. You can see it. So this is Facebook's interpretation of the problem, and they can't really do HD. So, well, they released it first, and then Google is like, we can do it too, and better, but we're not going to release it because we're very concerned about the training data. But there's a drifting horse like that.
Yeah, there we go. That's the drifting horse.
This actually looks better.
Yeah, but look, it's going sideways.
Yeah.
Deja vu. Higher than before. But like I was saying, there are different applications to this that, like I said, I get with science. You have to push technology. You have to research this. If you're developing something, push as many buttons, break it, learn, make sure this thing is fully tested. You got to fill in that research paper somehow.
Oh,
but
sorry.
What's the practical application for this in real life? I know they could answer that, but I just can't see it right now. And I can maybe, like, for history applications, if you wanted to generate something.
I think I do have an answer for it.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
Before I briefly mentioned that they didn't want to release it because of the concerns with the training data. They're saying that they're trying to filter out explicit content and stereotypes and stuff like that. And apparently they're not confident enough to say that all of that has been filtered out. So they're afraid that what the thing will produce.
You expose any AI to the internet for a few hours and either does one of two things: become insanely racist or try to destroy humanity. Nothing in between.
There's a lot of that going on for sure. Okay, now as far as what the uses are, I think this is, well, it's a testing ground to push the software in the direction that they actually want to take it, which is tools to improve things that are already made. For example, the separate program, though similar application, they also have a new version of their Nerf AR program.
See, this one I really liked.
Yeah.
This one I can see the practical application for. If we're going into the history side of things, if there's a vintage photo that needs to be recovered one way or another, or for like crime scene investigation, we're getting close to the point where, like in movies, whenever you see somebody be like, that looks like our killer. Enhance. And then we're actually getting there. This one's really fascinating. I think we'll show you a clip first of...
so there's different things it can do. And there's a video by 2 Minute Papers that actually goes into it quite a bit.
What you're seeing here is that the program bunches together a bunch of photos from like an image. In this one, it's a playground, and the person went around taking photos, different angles, and like a 360 perimeter around the thing. Okay. The examples that I will give you will continue. But once you see the application of this program actually generating things like there, smooths it out.
Well, it actually makes it into a video and fills out the geometry of it from different perspectives. And it uses this for some of the other tools as well, as we'll see in a little bit.
What's impressive is a perspective change.
Yeah.
And
so, for example, like this,
nothing gets lost.
He points out this part here where like the text. This is the same text that came out in the photo like much later, but the computer was able to fill in that extreme perspective shift. Yeah, That's what I meant.
What it also does phenomenally is when it gets into its work with shadows. They do have an example where they have a candle on the table, and the previous versions of this type of technology would just try to bump up the light in the environment, but obviously creates a lot of digital noise that
we have that.
sometimes just makes it harder to see. Although ads, we'll get to it in a sec. But the way that this program is able to recognize the environment that it's in is just nothing short of amazing. And we got the clip up here in a quick sec.
So the cool thing to me is that the previous technologies were using just essentially JPEG information, and this is what they could do. It's like not bad, you know. You went from something really, really noisy that a lot of photographers would recognize to something recognizable, though maybe not useful.
And before we continue, give me just 1 second. The video is asking you to focus on that white square. I would say focus a little bit more to the right of you guys, to where that bicycle shape is. That's what I found most impressive.
Right here.
And then they're going to do the new application with the new technology,
which uses all of the raw data from the sensor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it can get like this much further.
Now, let me just say first, it looks like a video game, like it was smoothed out, like this was generated or rendered in like an Unreal Engine or something. But the way that with all of, I guess, its knowledge that they've actually poured it in for it to recognize objects through light, it successfully replicated all of it. Because if you look at that toy, and now it's obvious that that's a Lego truck. Never would have guessed that. I thought it was like a salt and pepper shaker.
And then on top of that, it can still apply some perception. It's not perception. What am I saying wrong?
Perspective.
Perspective shift.
Perspective shifts.
And then on top of that, it can do other things like apply different tone maps, kind of like LUTs. It can change the exposure of, well, it's not going to show it right here, but it can even change the focus of the thing. It can obviously not, well, it can try to sharpen things a little bit, but for the most part, it's sort of limited to adding realistic blur.
To all the photographers out there, I know that you'll recognize this too. Is it looks like tilt shift.
Yeah, so this is, as far as I can tell, these ones are made from stacked HDR images. I don't think that's exactly true though. I think it's also stacked. I forgot what the term is. There's a specific term when you stack, focus stacking, something like that. You merge photos of the same thing while focusing on different parts of the image, so that you can get an image that has everything in focus.
Kind of like dividing it into layers.
Yeah,
and
photographers do this a lot for instant photography.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, if you feed that into the algorithm, it can sort of take it all in, and then you can really control the exposure and the focus.
You know what I want to do with this? I want to throw a bunch of the UFO photos and footage and see what it comes up with.
That's hilarious.
Practical applications.
Part of the issue is that we don't have the raw sensor data from that stuff.
From the UFOs?
I'm sure there's like one or two. I'm sure there's some ufologists that actually took that call seriously and didn't. They didn't do the thing. It's fine. They can hear it. They didn't do the thing that the meme. Oh look, a UFO! Quick, get the worst camera we have. But yeah, so I'm sure there's some raw photos that's still completely incomprehensible that maybe we could use for this.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, this makes sense. I can see the practical applications of this. With the other AI stuff, it just feels like, and I know it is, it's just researchers trying to push this technology that they've been developing and hoping that their program doesn't get shut down by the higher ups. But we'll be showing you more examples. See, it's just phenomenal. Like,
so that's again the previous, and then as far as I can tell, see, I'd be really curious to see if the output is not just the image like that, or I guess the clip, but like how much you can actually manipulate it. Like, is it creating a complete 3D mesh that you could like could you just take that and take it into Blender?
That's actually interesting.
It seems like it's doing that.
It reminds me of in the original Blade Runner. Have you seen it? I'm gonna put you
No.
on the spot right now.
No, we haven't.
All right. Well, there's a shot where Harrison Ford's Deckard character is looking. He just picked up some photos from an apartment, and I'm not gonna spoil the plot, but there's a specific moment he plugs them into the computer. He's able to, with the computer, shift the image around as if it were like a 3D scan of the entire environment to zoom in and
That's
change
what
the
we're getting at.
perspective. And you just brought that up. Like, it might actually be doing that. That's the only way where I feel like it makes the most sense. But we're just talking just ideas right now because we haven't watched the what's the video, like 2-minute papers.
Yeah.
Yes. All the links of all these articles will be down in the description, with a few extra links just to kind of give context to some of the links that we've had here.
Okay, do you want to hear the craziest part?
What's the craziest part? Tell me,
They
Pablo.
have their code available on GitHub.
What?
See, I don't know.
UFO footage.
I don't know.
UFO footage.
For this specific tool, the Neverland tool, which it stands for something, but I forgot what it was.
High dynamic range view synthesis.
What is the end? I don't know. I don't know if it comes with the pre-trained data, because I briefly skimmed the GitHub, and I'm not an expert at GitHub, but there was mention of how to feed it your own data to train it. So I mean, I feel like it's kind of useless if it doesn't come with pre-trained data.
If anybody's watching this that would love to work with this and send us stuff, please do. I would love to see this stuff.
I mean, we'll also get Hecate to take a look at it.
Yeah, no, Hecate will definitely look at it. I'm really excited to what we can do with this because there's a lot of blurry photos that we have, and we'd like to, see if it gets it right. I think that would be a fun experiment for us, but
Yeah.
I digress.
So another thing that derives from this as well.
We peaked with this one, and we're gonna go back to.
Yeah.
We should have built up to it, but this is an example of AI images. You feed the computer a photo, and it tries to generate a drone shot. This is what I thought going through the Inception mindscape would look like.
A reference I also don't get. What's fascinating about this one, or what I found fascinating, is this isn't apparently the first attempt that they try to do this, and the first time the first iteration of it, I can't really
make it full screen.
No.
Okay, well,
These are just, but 2-minute papers also has a video on this, and actually this one I watched more attentively, but he talks about how the first time they tried to do this, they were doing it with drone data. Like for the training set, they use drone footage and sort of the path of the drone to this new tech, and it wasn't as good. The AI didn't have as much temporal abilities. Oh, that's right. He also talks about that.
Mm-hmm. Because this one also does have
I actually don't even know
image smoothing.
I don't know what the. Oh, okay. So he's talking about all the technologies that have to be combined to achieve this thing. This render of the environment, and one of them is, well, as you get close to the image, you're zooming in, and you need to upscale to try and figure out what what's in that specific area that you're zooming into.
Because it's got to recognize what water is, what the color would look like, what the lighting would look like.
And then it has to make more renders.
And perspective.
He showed an example of some of the upscaling technology that they have. And this is like...
Enhance.
This seems fake.
Enhance. But then, there are imperfections into what these images look like. So if you look at the image on the left, obviously that's the original, but on the right, it misses the mark on the edge of the glasses.
Yeah.
The right eye does have like that thin border, but the left eye doesn't.
But everything else about this is like it has the curls,
because you can vaguely see the shape in the last one, but I think this is another one where, like, at least with that previous technology, I can see a practical application too, but with this.
So this is still, I don't know why he called it a new technique, but this is still, he talks about it more later. This is this is still the older version.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Where it couldn't remember what it was doing essentially. So at some point it just divulged into nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the new version that is only trained with images. They're not training it with videos of drones and stuff. It's able to accomplish something that looks way better. Like it still kind of divulges into something completely different than the original image, but at least frame by frame, it makes more sense.
Do you think it's because as it's zooming in, it assumes that the perspective is changing, so it's getting closer to the ground, but has to course correct to be like, oh wait, no, we're still flying above? Because we have an example video, kind of like with this one. If you see it's trying to zoom in, it assumes it's water, but it's like, no, wait, we're on mountains. And then it goes back to like, this is water. Oh no, mountains again. There's another shot of that same technique, but it looks like it's going into a cliffside. But it assumes that it's a building. There we go.
Yeah,
the one on the bottom right.
Yeah, when this mountain, it's like mountain. Oh, maybe it's a building. It's a building. Nope, it's a mountain.
Trees.
But yeah, this is another one of those, like, if it gets good enough, I can totally see the
Okay, for
can
what
you not
though?
see the totally application?
Okay.
You filmed something, and all of a sudden it doesn't time correctly. You missed part of the shot where you wanted. You wanted to reframe it a little bit. So now you use this technology to extend your landscape.
So what's the difference with this?
Like, people do it all the time.
Than generating like an environment, like,
you know what the difference is? This is a lot less work. It's a lot less expensive.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at it through this way. You're still gonna have to put in the effort to create the set design and the landscape design for your environments.
It's just replacing a lot of the work that VFX artists have to do now.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to reframing shots. Yeah, because like there's plenty of tutorials on how to do this kind of stuff on Blender. Where you'll recreate sort of the 3D mesh a little bit, and then you take the image and you apply it as a texture map, and then you sort of extend it as you can, or you try to build with your own imagination. The program's just doing it. It's essentially instantaneously on its own. And if it gets good enough, it's like, yeah, you could just do that.
And don't get me wrong, for that technology, fantastic. They're pushing it. They're
also
they're
talks
learning.
about the 2-minute paper guys. He also talks about how it's not just that you input the one photo and it goes and it does whatever it wants. You can actually redirect it. You can actually tell it to like turn around.
Oh, okay, that's
so you have a lot of control. Well, right now you have some control over the camera movement. But, there's no reason why in the future you wouldn't have full control of it. You can probably even feed it metadata from the camera movement, to do all that.
Yeah, well, that too. I'm also thinking about it too. It's like, well, we're at the precipice of all this new technology, and we're starting to see it become more available. And as more and more presentations come out, I'm curious to see what direction all of these different what direction all these different programs and different directions the companies want to take it into. If they're going to merge together, if they're going to separate, if it's going to become something specific for just one industry or multiple, we're at a point where this can just go anywhere. So
it is interesting to see that Google has this like 3 different projects going at the same time, and they kind of do similar things. Like they have internal competition. It's kind of funny.
Who's gonna get shut down next week? Who knows?
Right. That's one of the things that Google has issues with. They launch programs that do the same thing, and then they end up shutting most of them. It's like, just focus down. I'm still upset that they let go of that.
I would watch that TV show.
Which one?
3 teams create an AI an AI program. Which one will survive? An elimination round.
It's probably they're probably not even on the same building. But can you imagine, you like go to lunch and you start talking to one of your coworkers that you've never seen before and works on a different part of the office, and you're like, oh, what do you guys do? And they're like, they describe exactly what you do. You're like, wait, that's our project. What's going on? That must be so distressing for those employees.
It just be like that sometimes, I guess. I don't know.
Alright, so moving on to the last of Google News. They have a new phone.
New phones. Yeah. Tech. Woo, cameras.
Apparently it's a Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro. What's new about it? Nothing.
Improved cameras. You left that out. Oh.
So apparently it has a 10 megapixel front camera, which is better than the old one, but it has the same rear camera. But here's the big one. They added this to the Photos app.
Unblur.
Inside
this better be good.
Inside the Pixel 7. If you have a Pixel phone, you can use this in the Photos app.
Okay, wait.
It's an unblur photo. And the kicker is, or what's funny rather, is that you can use this on photos that weren't taken by the Pixel. So it's not that, the Pixel has new technology that lets you unblur images. It's like, no, they made some cool advances with software, and they're making exclusive to the Pixel because there's nothing else special about it. And the results pretty good.
I was about to say that because I can read it on the article. I'm like, oh, come on.
Look at the results though, pretty good.
No, yeah, I was saying, no matter what, it still looks good.
Right.
I think with I think it's a downside of having to beat Apple or just beat your competitors in an environment that they've created where a new phone has to be released every year. That any advancement that they make, even if it's a small one, ultimately just gets forgotten about because it's just a new phone, and it just gets wrapped up in a new one will come out next year. So a lot of these new advancements get downplayed when you compare to how, I guess, things were released in the olden days. But I don't know. I don't know what else to say much to this guy. I mean, it's just...
I am curious to see how long it takes for someone to upload a modified version of the Photos app that works on every phone with that feature. In the past, it happened pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I remember because I actually got the first Pixel, so that was pretty cool. And 2-3 months in, I actually needed a new phone at the time. I wasn't like,
practical
oh
Pablo.
Boy, Google phone. It was more of like, oh, I need a new phone.
A Google phone that can go with my Google Glass.
I broke my phone, and then I got the Note 7.
Continue.
And then they had the recall. So then, I really like the Note 7. That was still one of my favorite phones ever.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it? It was just good?
Well, I think it was the perfect size. It was a Note, so you had a pen. And new ones have it, but it also had the headphone jack, it had the micro SD, and some of those features are gone. There was something really good about it. So when they took my phone away, even though I was like, I will deal with the consequences, please don't take it away. and then they made it illegal to have it in airports and schools and stuff. So it's like, okay, fine. I guess I can return it. Fantastic.
I totally
so I didn't know what phone to get, but the
airplanes.
Pixel was the one that came out around that time, so I got the Pixel, and it was pretty good. But one of the cool things was the computational photography it had, and they said that there was a special chip inside that made all that happen. And then 2 months in, someone posted the modified camera app that worked on every Android with all those features, and I was like, well. There you go.
I mean, you gotta love people who go out of the way to go around company BS and make things free for people. You gotta love them.
Shout out to XDA developers.
It's to those people who fight to make things free, but also to all these major tech companies. Give me back cables. I want cables, damn it. I want cables, yes, and ports and jacks because I want to be able to actually do
Apple's
things
fault.
with my technology.
That's Apple's fault.
I know it's Apple's fault, but at the same time, come on. I mean, for people who aren't professionals or use this technology in professional manners, I mean, like us for film, I mean, the practical applications that we could use with an iPhone a few years back as a recorder or as a camera or anything, or just all the apps that were being made for filmmakers on these phones, phenomenal. But now we can't do anything. Now it all has to be Bluetooth and wireless.
It's so
and
strange
I just
to
want
me
to just like throw my phone because it's just useless. it's a YouTube device now. I can't use it for anything now. It's just
It's so strange to me that we've moved towards removing features from phones. I had the S10 before. Now I have the S22, and I was so hesitant to switch because the other one had a headphone jack. It had a specific type of technology that lets you do wireless payment with a magnetic reader. Like even if they didn't have the tap to pay, you could still put it right next to the card to swipe, and the machine would think that you swiped the card. I don't know why they took it away. It was fantastic. You know how we complain that Lowe's
all kinds of sketchy, but yes.
You know how Lowe's and Home Depot don't have a tap thing?
Were you able to?
I would never. Yeah, I was able to do that, and then I would never have to carry my wallet. And now, I haven't even set up auto pay on this. Not auto pay. Mobile pay, whatever.
Yeah.
And so many times I go plug in the headphones because I find some headphones. I'm trying to listen to something, and I find headphones laying around. I'm like, oh, got it. Damn it. Gotta go find the Bluetooth ones. Oh no, they're dead.
I think that's pretty much wraps us up for the tech side of things.
Wait, there's one more. There's one more.
Oh, there's one more? Oh, yes.
One more. Apparently, TikTok is getting into the competition with Instagram. Although, Instagram's been doing most of the copying. TikTok's like, well, let me give you a taste of your own medicine. We're adding photos to TikTok. TikTok's now Instagram, and Instagram is now TikTok.
Is this like Face Off? Which is John Travolta?
Huh?
Come on! This is why I do the entertainment section.
I'm really curious to see.
Here, wait, before we move on,
because
down in the comments, if you want to see a Pablo's never seen or we've never seen movie thing, I am down to do it. Because I feel like we have to reintroduce, or at least introduce Pablo to some things. We have to understand each other's references.
Oh boy.
What happened?
They peeked them behind the curtain. Let's check the stream.
It's fine. We're having fun doing this live stream. You can actually hear us discuss all the tech stuff that we would usually do while we're editing the regular news videos. So
yeah. So the only thing I really want to say about this is, I don't see how TikTok can do better than Instagram at photos. Yeah, I know the algorithm for Instagram is garbage and whatever, but it's TikTok. Like, there's nothing really too special about it. I think the issue Instagram has, and a lot of most social medias have, which is why they all fail eventually, is that they rely on new people to join up. And young people don't like to join up on what old people are already in.
Mm-hmm.
So the new thing always wins, which is, it doesn't happen in any other service or thing. The established thing usually wins, but with social media, it tends to be, not always. There's a lot of other applications that have tried to make it and failed miserably.
Well, yeah. Now, I think with a lot of these social media apps that we have, at least with the big name ones like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, because there's so many companies that have so much invested stock into these companies, I don't think we'll live to see the day that they shut down, but it's going to be a while before they do, because so many companies, just like I said, have stock invested in their advertising and everything.
I think,
but
that's actually, because we were doing some marketing for a little bit, and Facebook has, people are not gonna like to hear this, they have really good tools for advertisers. They're really good at tracking you. They're really good at knowing what you like and what you're likely to buy and not buy. I don't think TikTok has some tracking stuff, but it's not on the same level. So advertisers are probably going to be reluctant to switch over, but if the users keep leaving Instagram like they have, I honestly think Facebook's in trouble.
No, they're established. They're not going to leave, and the fact that Facebook,
they're not going to go down without a fight. But
mm-hmm.
I don't know what else they could do at this point.
Well, I mean, they're smart enough to not just focus on their social media platform. The fact that they're the metaverse and whatever else they're
Yeah, because that's gone so well for them.
Yeah. The point is they're at least trying to be something else other than just a social media platform, where I think is where Instagram is the most at fault, because they were the hip thing for a little while. And like you said, young people like to go to places where old people aren't. You know, people want to have their communities. But now, since companies are involved with Instagram, and now that it's gotten
but see,
to a
TikTok
point
suffers
where
from the same things Instagram suffers, and then people still like TikTok more. I don't understand that.
I think it's just because there was more of a younger population on there who just moved on from Instagram. There's a whole different world that comes to the fact it's gimmicky, but the fact that TikTok wanted to be shorts and quick reward videos like that,
and now they're not. They have I think you can do 10-minute videos on TikTok now.
and yeah, I mean, they realize that they became a big enough company where they realize, we have to corner every edge of the market so that we can compete.
They became the thing that they were fighting against, and then the people that joined them because they were different are all about it still. It's like you guys realize that the thing you hated, you became the thing you hated, and now you're still cheering it on.
Shh, it's okay, iPhone. You'll be okay.
I clearly have all the feelings towards this more than I should.
Well, I mean, interesting conversations. I mean, this is stuff that we would talk about while we're editing.
I'm not saying that Instagram's better or that everyone should use Instagram over TikTok. I think they're both not great.
Yeah, for us, we use them more as tools. I think the last time I really posted something worthwhile on Instagram was when I was in high school.
With that said, we might start posting more.
Actually.
With that said, we might start posting both on both platforms.
I mean, they're tools. We're going to use them, and we're going to see where it takes us. But the fact that they feel like they have to corner the market by having their own slice of the pie of we're going to do videos, or we're going to let people post or whatever, it's just the diversity and where these apps succeeded is gone. I think...
Yeah, they're all merging into the same thing. Even Twitter's...
You know what we don't talk about anymore? Snapchat. I haven't been on Snapchat in a while, but they've pretty much stayed the same, and I've still seen people still have Snapchat. Most of my friends still have it. Most of the people still use it, and they haven't changed.
See, even if the interface is special, all of these new apps don't overtake Facebook because Facebook is so favored by advertisers.
Mm-hmm. It's what's happening to YouTube right now. They're just becoming more ad friendly, so they'll stick around. No matter how much people want to point out all the faults that YouTube has, and they have a lot of faults, they're still gonna stick around because ads. It's a formula. It's a base. It's a system. There's advertisers there, and it's gonna stay.
All right, we gotta go in 20 minutes, so let's get through your stuff real quick.
Yeah, we gotta wrap up the entertainment stuff because we're planning to this be a short stream. Yeah, here we are. Big news for new films coming out.
Yeah, which one do you want to talk about?
Let's start off with Violent Night.
All right.
So everybody's favorite Hawkins police chief, he is back, not in a Stranger Things project, but in a project made by the producers of Nobody and Bullet Train. If you haven't seen either of them, I haven't seen Bullet Train. I did see Nobody with our good friend Saul Goodman. I forget the name of the actor because he's been Saul Goodman for me for the last few months, especially with the final season of Better Call Saul. But David Harbour's back on the big screen, and he's kind of doing a Die Hard take with Santa Claus. We can't show the video because it's age restricted.
Yeah, we'll do it anyways.
I'm actually really excited to see this just because of the comedy. It's not taking itself seriously, and I think that's what's really selling me on it. David Harbour as Santa Claus, I didn't know I wanted it, but it's something I'm really liking. So the story is he's doing his Santa duties, comes home to this house of
some sort of mafia people?
No,
like that, right?
He comes home to a rich family's house, but some guys break in, led by John Leguizamo, if you remember him from the John Wick, the original movie, and Sid in Ice Age. They take this family hostage because the husband of the family, he has like $30 million in his personal safe, and they just happen to be there.
The money he has is not completely legitimate.
Maybe we'll have to watch the movie.
You think a completely innocent family got targeted like that?
I mean, yeah, but look at that house. Look at that. You see how many nutcrackers there are over that fireplace? Who buys that many nutcrackers? They're different sizes.
Someone with lots of nuts.
Yeah, and look at the big ones right on the right side of the lamp. Yeah, see, like nutcracker. Then look at the bottom end on the floor. Yeah, look at that. That's wealth.
That's what you do when you have money.
And look, the set. They have such a great set designer. They put lamps everywhere so you can be perfectly lit in the shot. But anyways, Santa arrives while the family's being kidnapped, and then there's a really fun thing. It's kind of dumb, but I love it. The father gives his daughter a personal radio so that she can talk to Santa.
Did he know it's gonna work? I mean,
dude,
I know.
Well, canonically in this universe, Santa is real. He's there. So somebody out there has a method to communicate with Santa Claus. But this just reminds us of the South Park episode where they have to rescue Santa when he's shot down in the Middle East.
That's
yeah, so
look upon me, child. I am packing.
It's Black Hawk Down with Santa Claus. It's great. But Santa Claus decides to save the family tonight. But yes, Santa Claus blew up a guy. There's a great line before it if you watch the trailer. He says, "What do I do to the naughty people? I give them coal."
Yeah.
And then he says, "I should really watch." And David Harbour is Santa Claus. This is my Santa Claus. I want a team-up movie of all the Santa Clauses. I want David Harbour Santa Claus with Tim Allen Santa Claus and Kurt Russell Santa Claus. I want them all to just have an action movie, Avengers style, kicking ass.
I feel like
you said you didn't.
Violent Christmas movies have become more popular. Remember Krampus?
Yeah,
that was supposed to be pretty good, actually.
I think it's because they're realizing that there's a lot of horror fans that don't like that Christmas immediately happens after Halloween. They skip over Thanksgiving, so they try to get people intrigued in this, because they released this trailer this week. There's a reason why they did it. Like, aside from marketing, you have to build up hype a few months before. But the poster, the fonts, everything is just, it feels like a horror movie. So they want to make sure they can get this side of the potential audience to come to the theaters. I'm sure the advertisement's going to change a little bit as soon as we get closer to Christmas. It'll become more comedy oriented, but right now they're going in full to the violence.
So it comes out December 2nd?
Yes, December 2nd of this year.
Cool.
I'm really excited to watch it.
What else you got?
After that, we go into the trailer for Blockbuster. There's a show coming out about the last blockbuster on Earth, which there actually is a last blockbuster. Yeah, a last blockbuster on Earth. It's, I believe, in Bend, Oregon. This show is being produced by some of the people from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Community, I think it was. But the highlight is that our favorite FBI agent, Jimmy Woo, is heading the last blockbuster. He decides to go down with the ship, and he is the last one running. And it's just a wholesome series about them trying to keep the store afloat, dealing with the interpersonal relationships of all of it. There we go. Superstore and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Which you can totally see in the fact that it's a workplace comedy.
This also reminds me of that South Park episode.
Yeah. we have a hypothesis that South Park episodes are becoming full-fledged TV shows. But what I think is funny and really ironic is that take out the logo. That Blockbuster in 2000 had an opportunity to buy Netflix. They turned it down because that's not what we want to do, and then Netflix ended up shutting them down because of streaming. Now Netflix has a TV show based off Blockbuster. And
I did not see that last angle.
yeah, it's hilarious.
Oof.
Yeah, I know, oof. But and a funny note that we pointed out, or that I want to point out, if you go back to the Blockbuster logo for the show,
Did I miss it?
yes,
Yeah.
so it's blue with a gold outline. I'm thinking it's because of marketing, but they went out of their way to make sure they can have all the iconography of the actual Blockbuster chain. The logos are different because in the real logo, it's the blue ticket stub with the yellow lettering and the yellow outline around the edge, but it's not the same for the logo. They want to market and they want to make money off Blockbuster, but not give them the whole credit for, this is our show. We're Netflix. Why are you leaving our platform?
Yeah, Netflix in trouble too. Oof.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting. Although this show does look fun. I felt like a trailer review. It went from being very wholesome, like, oh, what are we gonna do? Last Blockbuster, keeping the comedy of it all. Like, it's a small town. What are they gonna do? And then by the end of it, it just goes over the top comedy. I'm like, okay, well, it's gonna do it eventually, but looks fun. That's on Netflix. It'll be coming out. When is it coming out?
Oh.
That it would.
Eh.
Well, this is a link to the real Blockbuster, which actually, thank you for reminding me. Yes,
Wait,
this
I'm
will.
showing the screen right now.
Yeah, let's show it to the screen right now. So, like I said, there is a real Last Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon. That the owner, she's really trying to keep this store afloat. She still has the iconography of it all because I think this was still a franchise location, so she was able to stay open. And she's still operating like a normal Blockbuster. But she's trying unique things to keep the store open. She does movie nights, but most interestingly, she is starting an Airbnb to sleep in that Blockbuster. Yeah. There's a photo at the very down to check out. Are you gonna look up the prices?
No, I
okay.
should.
Here, I'll scroll it down for you guys. They still operate. Here. It's a bed, couch. It's made to look like a living room with a TV console and everything. You can pay to sleep there for the night, and you get an unlimited access to whatever movie you want to watch and have a whole movie marathon, which I think it's fun. But also, it's for the fact to say I slept at the last Blockbuster.
Can you be there during the day?
I don't know. I need to see I need to see more photos.
Do you need to check out during the day?
I honestly don't know. That's what I'm curious about. It's
part of the store, right? It looks like it.
I don't know. They're still operating. They have stickers and buttons and everything. The last Blockbuster on Earth. They have a T-shirt that says I visited, but I don't know. It's just interesting that we've just gotten to a point where I get it for the whole nostalgia marketing of things, where I remember growing up at Blockbuster, and I remember Hollywood Video and all those stores, and the Blockbuster that I used to go to was about the size of like a small supermarket. It was huge, but then just straight up disappeared. But I think it's interesting how we've gotten to a point that we're starting to market and make money off nostalgia, and this show is obviously marketed to people in that generation and age group, like early 30s, mid 20s and up, people who've dealing with real life situations. Yep, there's sleepover inside the world's only surviving Blockbuster.
Yeah, but that's not the. That's
it's
not
just a link.
Yeah.
Okay, but it still looks like there's more photos. There's 5 photos there. It still looks like it's just part of inside the store.
Oh my god, they have VCRs.
I have a VCR still. What do you mean? What are you trying to say, Pablo? Yeah, that's just a one photo. She tried setting this up during the pandemic. It's still operating. They're still working under pandemic rules, especially for the Airbnb. Oh, here's the link.
Maybe.
Let's see.
Oh,
yep, it's still there. All right, so
$4 a night?
You're kidding me. Wait, how long is the? Oh, they're booked out. Oh man, they're booked.
Jesus.
All of 2023, all of 2024.
I mean, they might just be closed now. Who knows?
Well, yeah, but I mean, there would still be dates. Okay. Let's see. It's just giving the general information of like the history of the store, things that they're doing. So whether you want to stay up till summer or pass out on the couch, we created the perfect space complete with a pull-out couch, beanbags, and pillows for you to cozy up with new releases from the 90s. Crack over to
So do they have any new movies?
Oh yeah, they still get new movies. They still operate. I mean, there are still video rental stores here in LA. Obviously, not as much.
It only has 3 reviews.
Let's see. Well, what are the reviews saying? They're saying that's a special experience. Is beyond aesthetics, opportunity.
Yeah, positive reviews. She got pizza delivered from San Mondo.
Okay, so I mean, it looks like they also have video game consoles, but I want to see more photos.
I feel like they're not taking in more people. I don't think it's that they're booked out. I just think that there's no photos. Yep.
Wait, so has this whole store just been turned into an Airbnb then?
I don't know, because it doesn't look like they're taking people.
One day we'll follow up and we'll call, but let's move on to the next story. The links will be down below if you guys want to check it out. If you do get any information on it, I'd love to know about what's going on with this location, because that sounds pretty fun. Although I would do this at home for the niche and for the bucket listing of saying, oh, I slept in the last the last blockbuster on Earth. I mean, that sounds fun.
Do you want to go with the last one or?
Yeah. So the last one is that the opening, or like the first third of Avatar 4 has been shot. So
wait, only shot?
Has already been shot. So here's some news about the Avatar sequels. Obviously, the first one came out like almost 12 years ago. We're getting the sequel this December.
What do you mean shot? It's whole CG.
They do motion capture, right? But they did the first one. And James Cameron wanted to wait for not only like funding, but also enough budget so he could actually do motion capture shooting underwater. Because they did tests of doing motion capture and faking it, like, oh no, we're underwater. And they also paid to do the research for it to be actually in a water tub. The water tub shots apparently blew the rest out of the water, excuse my pun. But they said, okay, we're going to move forward with this approach. And for the last few years, they've been shooting on and off, developing the technology for them to actually shoot this movie underwater. And funny enough, the actress Kate Winslet, she actually beat Tom Cruise's record of holding her breath underwater. I think it's over 7 minutes. But anyways, they shot Avatars 2 and 3 back to back because they said for sure the second movie and the third movie are guaranteed. They want to see how much of the box office return comes for them to continue with sequels, because apparently James Cameron has 5 movies planned, if not more. They've filmed, like I said, 2 and 3, and they've been toying around with the idea of actually releasing 4, but they still need to see. If it continues, at least they're prepared. But they said that they want to introduce more biomes, more characters, more cultures and religions into the Avatar mythology, and they want to continue it to the sequels, that we will still carry everything that we've learned, but I think it just really comes down to the fact that if you spend billions of dollars on research and development and creating languages and cultures and all this stuff, you're going to want a return on your investment. So
all I gotta say is James Cameron. Explorer of the deep. something.
I think this guy just wants to live underwater because, like,
Yeah.
you know where he and Bill Paxton were?
No seas too deep. No I forgot what song this is.
He takes his acting buddies and friends down under the water, and they just go check out the Titanic, I guess. But I don't know, man. James Cameron just wants to make his blue people movies, which I'll go see. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Even when
fun.
he's not making a boat movie, he has to make it underwater.
Yeah.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
that wraps up our news cycle for this week.
Stay tuned for next week when we. What's the thing? What's the tagline? Oh, we haven't been saying the tagline.
What tagline?
Remember, you can't come up with it. Where more products will be released, and Hollywood will continue to making things, and we'll continue to watch them.
Yeah, that tagline. Let us know if you actually like this format of the news. For us, it's easier, quote unquote, but it's just that we've been wanting to try out more live stream things, and if this is more engaging for you guys, because we enjoy being able to discuss it, and we feel like we can't really put that into the news video without them becoming longer, and we want at least them to be short. Let us know below if you want to see more stuff like this, or if you want us to go back to the regular edited versions.
Well, we're gonna try out to supplement this with shorts, maybe on TikTok and Instagram.
Shameless promotions.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes for a little bit, and then if not, we'll go back to normal.
All right, guys, have a good night. Be safe. Be good people. Keep watching movies. Don't forget to subscribe, subscribe. See y'all later. Bye.